Okay, so yesterday we got the Glitch Direct, and honestly it was packed with news about episode 7, because not only did we finally get confirmation on the release date, but we also got to see the actual teaser that they showed at the New York Comic Con a few days ago, and I need to talk about everything because there's so much to unpack here, and some of it is honestly making me even more concerned about what's coming. So starting with probably the most important thing, episode 7 is officially confirmed to be dropping on December 12th, which honestly is both exciting and kinda scary at the same time, because we're finally getting a concrete date after all this waiting, but also that means we only have about a month left before whatever Gooseworx has been warning us about actually happens. And not only that, but they also revealed that episode 8 is gonna come out on March 20th, 2026, which is interesting because that's a pretty big gap between episodes again, and I'll get into why that might be happening in a second. But here's where things got a bit concerning, because we all remember how Gooseworx said that episode 6 was gonna come out sooner than the previous episodes, and it did. We got it faster than expected, but now with these next episodes it seems like the production timeline is getting stretched out again. And Gooseworx actually addressed this directly in a tweet where she said, "Sorry, these next few episodes are taking a bit longer, it's because I'm falling apart and dissolving in acid." Now obviously she's joking with the whole dissolving in acid part, but the underlying message is pretty clear. These episodes are taking longer to produce, and there's probably a reason for that. And honestly, I think the reason is because of everything we've been hearing about episode 7 and how intense it's gonna be. Because if you remember from all the previous warnings from both Gooseworx and Michael Kovac about how this episode is gonna tear the fanbase apart and upset certain types of fans, it makes sense that an episode like that would require way more time and effort to get exactly right. Like Gooseworx already mentioned before that episode 7 had multiple rewrites during pre-production, because they needed to make sure they didn't mess it up, so maybe all that extra care and attention is why we're seeing these longer wait times now. But there was also some interesting news about Netflix, because Glitch announced that when episode 7 drops on December 12th, episodes 5 through 7 are all gonna be available on Netflix at the same time, and apparently this is because they realized that people like to watch stuff in batches rather than waiting month by month. And honestly, this makes a lot of sense from a viewing experience perspective, especially if episode 7 is gonna be as intense and emotionally devastating as everyone's been saying, because maybe people are gonna want to immediately go back and rewatch episodes 5 to 6 to pick up on all the foreshadowing and details they missed the first time around. However, one of the most interesting things from the Glitch Direct was when Kevin and Luke talked about the future direction of the amazing digital circus, and they specifically said that the show is gonna get a lot more dark and intense moving forward, which honestly we've all been expecting based on the warnings, but again, we are getting a beach episode. It should be, and actually looks like a more light-hearted episode rather than something crazy deep. Like that's typically what beach episodes are in shows. They are the filler episodes where characters just hang out and have a good time. But the fact that Kevin and Luke said,
"From this point onwards in the story, it's gonna get a lot more dark, a lot more intense, starting with a beach episode for some reason."
It makes it sound like this beach episode is gonna be anything but typical. Cause why would they mention that the show's getting darker and more intense and then immediately follow it up with the beach episode, unless the beach episode is actually where things start getting really messed up. Now the other major thing that happened was the New York Comic Con, where Gooseworx and all the voice actors were present, and they were asked to sum up episode 7 in just one word. And honestly, the responses they gave are absolutely wild and kinda terrifying when you think about what they might mean. So Lizzie Freeman, who voices Pomni, said what? And that's already concerning, cause what suggests confusion and disbelief, like maybe Pomni's gonna witness something that completely breaks her understanding of the circus or the characters around her. Then Alex Rochon, who voices Kane, said Chinese, and honestly I have no idea what that could mean. Like, is there gonna be Chinese food involved? Is it a reference to something cultural? Is Kane gonna do something completely random that somehow connects to this? I genuinely don't know, but it's such a weird and specific word that it has to mean something important. Amanda Hufford, who voices Ragatha, said help, and yeah, okay, that's definitely not good, because help implies that maybe Ragatha or someone else is gonna be in some kind of serious trouble or distress. Marissa Lenti, who voices Gangle, said which again suggests confusion or surprise. Ashley Nichols, who voices Zubul, said yikes, and honestly that's probably the most straightforward concerning response, because yikes is what you say when something really bad or uncomfortable happens, like when you witness something that makes you physically react with discomfort. But then Gooseworx herself said shrimp, and what does shrimp even mean in this context? Like, is it a joke? Is it a reference to something that's gonna happen in the episode? Is there gonna be an actual shrimp character or shrimp related plot point, because knowing Gooseworx's sense of humor, this could either be a complete misdirection or it could be hinting at something really specific that we won't understand until we actually see the episode. And honestly, when you look at all these responses together, they paint this picture of an episode that's gonna be confusing, uncomfortable, distressing, and just generally really weird in ways that we probably can't even predict right now. Like, none of these words suggest that episode 7 is gonna be a fun time. Even the beach setting, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be the typical lighthearted beach episode that we'd expect from most shows. But if you connect all this information together, the longer production time, the warnings about the show getting darker, the beach episode that somehow kicks up this darker tone, and all these one-word descriptions that sound pretty concerning, it really does seem like episode 7 is gonna be the turning point for the entire series. Like, maybe this is gonna be the episode where the facade finally drops completely and we see the true nature of what the circus is doing to these characters. And maybe that's why it's taking longer to produce, because Gooseworx isn't just making another adventure episode, she's making the episode that fundamentally changes how we view this entire show, and that kind of shift requires way more care and attention to detail than a regular episode would. Like, you can't just rush through an episode that's supposed to divide the fanbase and make people question everything they thought they knew about these characters. But also, I think it's worth mentioning that the fact that we're getting episode 8's release date so far in advance, like we're talking about March 2026, which is over 3 months after episode 7 drops, suggests that Glitch is really committed to giving these final episodes the time they need to be done right. Because we know episode 7 was originally supposed to be combined with episode 8 as one massive episode before Gooseworx split them, so maybe both of these episodes are gonna be incredibly dense and complex, and that's why they needed these longer production windows. And honestly, at this point, I'm just extremely curious about what this beach episode is actually gonna involve, because the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that it's not gonna be what anyone expects. Like, maybe the beach setting is gonna be this beautiful, sunny, perfect environment on the surface, but underneath is gonna be where we finally see characters completely breaking down, or where major reveals happen that change everything. Because if you think about it, beach episodes in most shows are meant to be these relaxing, fun episodes where characters can just be themselves without any major plot happening. But what if the amazing digital circus takes that concept and completely subverts it? What if the beach episode is actually where characters are forced to confront things about themselves or each other that they've been avoiding this whole time, and the peaceful beach setting just makes it all more unsettling because of the contrast? And maybe that's what Gooseworx meant by shrimp. Like, maybe it's not a literal shrimp, but more of a metaphor for something small and seemingly insignificant that ends up being way more important than anyone realized. Or maybe it's just Gooseworx being deliberately cryptic because she knows we're all gonna overanalyze everything she says. But honestly, December 12th is coming up pretty fast, and with everything we've been hearing about this episode, I'm both excited and genuinely concerned about what we're about to witness. Like, I want to see what happens next, but I'm also kind of scared that it's gonna completely destroy my perception of characters I've grown to care about over these past episodes. And the fact that they're putting episodes 5 through 7 on Netflix together suggests that they want people to be able to see the full arc of whatever happening across these 3 episodes, because maybe episode 7 is gonna make way more sense when you can immediately go back and watch episodes 5 and 6 again to see all the setup and foreshadowing that we might have missed. But let me know what you think about all these updates and theories down in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.